Hey guys, my name is Abby. Today we're going to learn about chemical reactions. I hope you guys are really excited for that. We're going to talk a little bit about what they are, and then we're going to do a super awesome experiment at the end to show what chemical reactions actually do. So, to start off, we're just going to talk about exactly what a chemical reaction is. So, a chemical reaction is when two or more molecules interact and the molecules change. And secondly, it's when a chemical change occurs. So what's a chemical change? That's what we need to discuss. A chemical change is a change that results in the formation of a new substance. It involves the breaking of the bonds between atoms. For example, bread rising. The yeast in the bread converts carbohydrates to carbon dioxide. Another example would be the lighting of a match. So the next thing we need to talk about is the chemical reaction formula. So right here we have the formula for photosynthesis. Alright, so the formula starts off with carbon dioxide and water for the plant, also sunlight. Okay, so it would be 6 carbon dioxide or CO2 plus 6 H2O or water, and that results, so this arrow is the resultant arrow, it results in C6H12O6, which is also known as sugar, and 6H2O, which is also known as oxygen. So that's how you write a chemical formula, okay? So these are the reactants, and these are known as the products. So this will come into play later when we talk about the experiment we're going to perform. So for this experiment, we're going to need a couple of materials. The first thing we need is definitely safety goggles, okay? The second thing you need is a measuring spoon or a little cup. The one I have here is 1 teaspoon. The third thing you're going to need is vinegar. And then you're also going to need baking soda. And lastly, you're going to need a glass bowl or some sort of beaker to actually put the concoction in. So the first thing you need to do before you start this experiment is obviously put your safety goggles on. So you saw me have these on earlier when I was lighting the match. So whenever you're using fire or any sort of chemical reaction, you need to have safety goggles on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 3 teaspoons of vinegar to my bowl here. So 1, 2, 3. The next thing we're going to do is add 1 teaspoon of the baking soda to my bowl of vinegar, and we're going to watch the reaction that takes place. So you obviously observe the fizzing and the bubbling coming from that. So when that happens, because when you mix vinegar and baking soda, they don't just hang out together. So they react chemically to form a bubbling, fizzing foam. So the foam we see is made of 2 brand new substances. Like we discussed earlier, how chemical reactions create new substances, and those new substances are plain water and carbon dioxide gas. So as we discussed earlier as well, this is the chemical formula for this reaction. So you start off with the vinegar, which is HC2, H3, and O2, and then you add the baking soda, which is NaHCO, and your resultant is water, which is H2O, and carbon dioxide, which is CO2. So we can't really see the gas coming out of that, though. We just hear the bubbling. So this next activity will prove to you there's gas coming out of this reaction. So for this next activity, we're going to take this super awesome rocket launcher, and I'm going to put baking soda inside the base right here, and then vinegar inside the tube right here. And once we put them together and we shake it, we put it down, we're going to be able to see the gas that is let off by these two mixing together, because the rocket's actually going to shoot up in the air. So here we go. So first, we need to put the baking powder in the base of the rocket. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then you're going to put the vinegar in the rocket tube. And then we're going to put them together and make sure we're outside, and we're going to put it on the ground, and we're going to watch what happens.
Go. Oh my god, please work. Now it's gonna go that way. It's not gonna work. You put it on crooked. I know.
Wow, so let's discuss a little bit about what we just saw there. So obviously the rocket shot up in the air, right? But do you remember why it did that? So that's what we're going to talk about. So remember, it's a chemical reaction, and a chemical reaction occurs when two or more molecules interact and the molecules change, and that change is a chemical change. Like I showed you earlier with lighting the match, and the baking soda and vinegar is a chemical change because they create new substances. So with the vinegar and the baking soda reaction in the rocket, they created H2O, which is water, and CO2, which is carbon dioxide gas, and that gas has actually propelled the rocket straight up into the air and was able to fly. So overall, we can definitely see that chemical changes are happening and chemical reactions are happening because of those chemical changes. So, in conclusion, that's just what a chemical reaction is. I really hope you enjoy the video. Thanks.